Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night, exactly at midnight, for no reason at all? That used to happen to me all the time. I just chalk it up to a weird sleep cycle. But then one night, everything changed. I jolted awake, heart pounding, and glanced at my digital clock. Bright red numbers glowed back at me. 12 a.m. A chill that had nothing to do with the room temperature crept over my skin. Everything was silent. Too silent. The usual late-night city hum was gone. The soft ticking of the grandfather clock downstairs was absent. It was as if the world had been muted. I strained my ears, listening for anything, a car, a dog barking, anything at all. Nothing. Just an oppressive, heavy silence that seemed to press in on me from all sides. I tried to roll over, to just go back to sleep, but my body wouldn't obey. I was frozen, staring at the ceiling. That's when I heard it. A soft, rhythmic scratching sound. It was coming from outside my bedroom window. Scratch, scratch, scratch. It was slow, deliberate, like long fingernails dragging down the glass. My blood ran cold. I live on the 3rd floor. There's no balcony, no fire escape, nothing outside that window but a sheer brick wall and a 50-foot drop to the concrete below. I told myself it was just a tree branch, but there are no trees tall enough to reach my window. The scratching stopped, and the silence returned, somehow even more menacing than before. I held my breath, my ears ringing in the quiet. Then a new sound started. A soft tapping. Tap, tap, tap. It was on the glass right in the center of the window pane. It was a gentle, almost polite sound, like someone trying to get my attention. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. My throat was tight, and a primal fear I had never known gripped me. Every horror movie cliché, every ghost story I'd ever heard flooded my mind, but none of them prepared me for this. The reality of it was so much worse. The tapping grew more insistent. Tap, 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 tap. Faster now, more demanding. Slowly, fighting every instinct screaming at me to stay put, I turned my head towards the window. The curtains were drawn, thank God, but a sliver of moonlight cut through a small gap. And in that sliver, I saw it. A shadow. A long, impossibly thin finger, dark against the pale light, was tapping against the glass. The nail was long and curved, like a talon. My heart felt like it was going to explode. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying for it to be a nightmare. Please, just be a dream. Let me wake up. I started counting in my head, a stupid, childish trick to make the monster go away. 1, 2, 3, 4. The tapping stopped. I opened my eyes. Just a crack. The shadow was gone. The silence was back. Maybe it was over. Maybe I had imagined it all. A wave of relief, so powerful it almost made me dizzy, washed over me. I let out a shaky breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. I lay there for what felt like an eternity, just listening. The city sounds started to return, faint at first, then stronger. The hum of traffic, a distant siren. The grandfather clock downstairs began its steady, comforting tick-tock. I finally managed to sit up, my pajamas soaked in a cold sweat. I felt foolish. My overactive imagination, that's all it was. A waking dream. I decided I needed some water. My hand reached for the lamp on my nightstand, and as my fingers brushed the switch, I heard another sound. This one was different. It wasn't outside. It was inside the room with me. It was a soft, wet, whispering sound, and it came from the foot of my bed. I froze, my hand hovering over the lamp. I didn't dare turn it on. I didn't want to see what was there. The whispering continued, a dry, raspy sound, like dead leaves skittering across pavement. It was speaking, but the words were in a language I didn't understand, guttural and ancient, and beneath the whisper there was another sound, a slow, rhythmic dripping. Drip, drip, drip. It was the sound of something wet hitting the wooden floor. I knew with a certainty that chilled me to the bone that if I looked, I would see something that would break my mind. The thing at the foot of my bed had been outside my window. And now it was in here with me. The whispering grew louder, closer. I could feel a cold breath on my feet, even through the thick blanket. My survival instinct finally kicked in, overriding the paralysis of fear. In one desperate, clumsy motion, I lunged for the lamp and flicked it on. The room was flooded with warm, yellow light, and there was nothing there. Absolutely nothing. The foot of my bed was empty. The floor was dry. The room was exactly as I had left it. I scrambled out of bed, my back pressed against the wall, my eyes scanning every shadow, every corner. I checked the window. It was locked from the inside. The door was closed and locked too. There was no one here. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. I sat on my bed with the lights on, watching the clock. At 1 a.m., I felt a little safer. By the time the sun came up, I had almost convinced myself it was all a hyper-realistic nightmare. Almost. I haven't been able to sleep through the night since. Every night I find myself wide awake a few minutes before midnight. I lie in bed, my body rigid, watching the numbers on my clock change. 11:58, 11:59. I hold my breath, waiting. Waiting for the world to go silent. Waiting for the scratching to begin. It's been 3 weeks, and it hasn't happened again. But I know it will. Because last night, as I was desperately trying to stay awake, I noticed something I hadn't seen before. On the wooden floor, right at the foot of my bed, were 3 long, deep scratches in the finish. Scratches that weren't there before that night. And sometimes, when the house is quiet, I can still hear a faint whisper on the edge of my hearing, a promise of a visit. Tonight is another night, and midnight is coming.